Hey everybody, this is Brian from Carving is Fun, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my review on the Victorinox Swiss Army Knives. Now, as this channel is all about carving, this video will be primarily focused on using these knives for whittling and wood carving. Now, I have here the Swiss Army Camper and the Swiss Army Huntsman. These are great all-purpose knives that you can also use for whittling. And one of the best things is you probably already have your own Swiss Army knife. Maybe even these ones right here. Now I chose these ones specifically because they have two different size blades on them, which is great for getting whittling. You have your like a roughing knife and then a more detailed knife. Not only that, these knives come with a saw on them. So it helps you like cut off a branch if you want to do whittling while you're camping, and you can also do some roughing out with the knife as well. The Huntsman comes with a couple more options on there. I believe this one has a scissor in here somewhere. There we go. Yeah, you have some scissors in this one. It's just a little bit thicker knife. You get more options with this guy. But let's get into some of the details about the knife. The steel that they're using is their own blend of high carbon stainless steel. I don't think anyone really knows exactly what it is. I think they keep it like a secret. But the Rockwell hardness, from what I'm seeing, is close to about 56, which is below the threshold where you really want your whittling knives to be. But it still makes a great knife for whittling because, well, you probably already have it, and it's just a great all-around knife to have, especially with the saw. So if you're out and about and you want to cut off a branch, that's great. It comes with a general purpose cutting edge on it. It needs to be honed down a little bit more if you want to use it for whittling. It's not too hard to do. It has okay edge retention, but that's primarily because the blade hardness is a little bit softer. It'll still get the job more than done. And since you have two different blades on here, you'll be fine. I believe I got the Camper for about 27, 28, and then the Huntsman I saw a little bit more than that. I want to say it's in the 30s. I can't remember off the top of my head for this one. And it's perfect for if you're just doing like part-time whittling and just whittling for fun. Now, usually in my review videos, I whittle up a neat little thing like this, but since Victorinox has these cool little books out that give you great ideas for whittling projects, I'm going to do one of the ones from here. And I picked the little owl. This one's pretty simple, pretty fun to do. I did one already. They're really easy to do. There's a whole bunch of different projects in these books. If you have a Swiss Army knife already and just want some great ideas, pick up this book. You'll get some really cool stuff in there. So let's see, which blade do I want to do? Now I'm also going to be whittling with some magnolia branches that I cut from the backyard. This is a little bit of a harder wood right now for me because it's dried. You might have an easier time cutting with it if you're doing green wood, like fresh from the tree, but since I let this dry in the garage here for about 2 months, it's nice and dry, but it's also a little bit harder. Now, some of the things I liked about these two knives specifically, which is the Huntsman and the Camper, is, like I said, there's two different blades in there. So you have two different options for going and cutting. So you have a larger roughing knife, and you have the smaller detail knife, as well as that really handy saw, which just makes it super easy to cut off a branch if you want to do that, or just like do a really simple rough out. Of course, Victorinox, they make some decent blades. They've been doing this for a long time. There's very little blade wobble on there. Little to none, I would say. It's pretty dang good for build quality for the price. Even though it has some of the tools sticking up everywhere, they're still pretty comfortable to hold on to. It's not a weird chunky feeling knife. It's pretty easy to hold on to, comfortable to hold. It's not going to have too many weird things poking at you or getting in the way. Now, if you are whittling with these knives, like if you're using it as a dedicated whittling knife, you might want to get rid of the little snap ring because it might get in the way. That's your call completely. You don't have to. They do recommend to do it in the book. If you get one of the books, they give you a bunch of other tips in there, like sharpening the knife and a bunch of different ways to take care of it. So if you're going to get so if you're going to get a Swiss Army knife for whittling, or if you already have one, go ahead and grab one of the books too. It's a pretty handy book to have. But yeah, these are great knives to have for anyone who has a passing interest in whittling. I would not say that these are great for a dedicated whittling knife, but just for like an everyday carry knife for someone, and just an everyday carry knife for someone who likes to whittle. You can designate one of the blades, like the smaller one, just for whittling. That's completely up to you. There we go. Ooh, that was a bit harder wood than I thought it would be. Do a little quick hone up on it. Yeah, like I was saying, the knife is made very well. There's very little blade wobble to it. You don't have to worry about it moving around on you or throwing off your cuts for precise cuts. It's a really well-made knife. They're comfortable to hold on to, so you can whittle with it for a long period of time. It's not going to cramp your hand too much. It's a nice thicker knife. If you want a thicker knife to hold on to, the Huntsman is going to do a little bit better because you get a little bit more width to it. So those of you with bigger hands might find that one a little bit better. But it's not going to be too much of a difference. But they're great, inexpensive, all-around knives, especially for everyday carry. It has decent quality steel. I wouldn't knock it for that. Alright, I think this is about done. Yeah, before I go over what I wasn't too terribly fond about the knife, I just want to let you know I did a review on a bunch of different pocket knives, comparing them and how they all stood up against each other. I'll have that video linked at the bottom in the description, and also at the end of the video as well. So if you want to check that out and see what other options are out there for you, feel free and have at it. But yeah, some of the things I wasn't too terribly fond of was primarily the steel quality is a little bit on the softer edge of where you want your whittling knives to be. I mean, it's not too terribly bad of a fault. This knife wasn't designed for whittling and wood carving, but more of an everyday knife, which the softer steel does work fine for that. And the edge grind on it is kind of steep for what you want for a whittling knife, but you can work it down a little bit. Just don't make the edge grind a little bit too small, because since it is a softer steel, you're gonna probably end up dinging the knife edge too quickly if you're gonna make it too small of an angle. And sharpness out of the box, it's not necessarily like a whittling sharp knife. You're gonna want to hone it down a good amount before you actually start using it for whittling. Otherwise, you're gonna be a little bit dissatisfied with how sharp it is. Note they do come sharp enough for most everyday tasks, but not necessarily for whittling wood for long periods of time. Like I said, great for an all-around everyday knife, and also for someone with a passing interest in whittling as well. It's just a good knife to have regardless. You may not be a whittler per se, but if you want a decent knife for like just everyday stuff, Swiss Army knives will get you covered. I mean, if you are looking for more of a dedicated whittling knife, there are plenty of them out there. Oh no, I did too much on that ear. Oh well, took out too much of the bark. There's plenty of other knives. Go ahead and check out that video here at the end, comparing all my knives that I did together. Now this channel is all about carving, and it lets me share some of my wood carvings with you, some of my stone carvings, and all the fun little tools I get to use along the way. So feel free to like and subscribe. It lets me know that you all are enjoying the videos I'm making, and it keeps me motivated to keep making more. Thanks for watching. I hope you have yourself a great day. Yeah, it's pretty good. Nifty little owl.